All right, here is a video for 7.3 Practice A, Odd Problems. Your job, after I'm done with the video, and the odds is for you to do the evens and do them all on your own paper, or you can print the worksheet and do it on the worksheet, do it on the back, whatever. But just make sure you turn in the assignment to Google Classroom. Show your work. I need you to turn in a picture of your work onto the assignment. All right, so the first 6 are asking us to simplify. So that's just make smaller. Simplify means to make something smaller, reduce it if you can, try to cross cancel anything that you can. And to do this, we're going to need to do some factoring. So simplify these expressions is going to entail some factoring. So I'm going to put factoring up here. So we might need a GCF, we might need difference of squares, we might need a trinomial broken up into 2 binomials, things that you've done in Algebra 1 and also in the first semester of Algebra 2 again, but we might have forgotten, so we'll have to look at it. So if you look at number 1, you cannot factor the top. So we are going to bring the top over 3x squared. The bottom, though, there is a common factor. There is an x that you could divide out of both of those. They both have at least one x. So you could divide out the x and put in parentheses what would be left over. You would have a 5x because you had 2 x's, but you took one out. And then you'd have me left with a plus 2. The x next to the 2 came out. And now you can try to simplify the top and bottom. Try to reduce anything that's on the top and the bottom. And if you notice, there's an x here, and there's 2 x's on the top. So I can get rid of that little 2, and I can put another x. So that's the same as x squared. X times x is the same as x squared. But now this is a picture of being able to see that I can cross-cancel one of those pairs of x's. So I can now say my answer on the top is just the 3x, and on the bottom is just the 5x plus 2. That's actually the lowest you can get it. You cannot cancel these other 2 x's. One of them is being multiplied. Oops, hold on a second. One of them is being multiplied. The other one has got an addition sign in it. So that's different. You can't do them when they're different. Only if they're both being multiplied can you reduce something. Okay, so that's number 1. I'm going to go to number 3. You're doing the evens, I'm doing the odds. Now let's recap how to factor a trinomial, because this has 1, 2, 3 terms. 3 meaning tri, so trinomial. And to factor a trinomial, you can look at the last number, a -5. And you can look at the middle number, a -4. And you could say, well, what multiplies to give me the last number? And the same 2 numbers add to give me the bottom number. And in this case, it's going to be a -5 and a +1. If I was to multiply -5 times 1, I would get -5. -5 plus 1 would give me -4. So now I know what my 2 binomials are going to be. You're going to have an x with a -5, because that's this guy. You're going to have an x with a +1, because that was this guy. So that's just the 2 parentheses that you could break this top trinomial into, and just it's called factoring. If you did FOIL, x times x, and then your first term's outside inside, you'd go right back to this trinomial and get the exact same thing over again. So this is breaking it down. The bottom one has a 10 as the top, the last number, and a -7 as the middle. It's got to multiply to get me a +10 and add up to a -7. So I need -5, -2, because negative times negative is going to give me that +10, but negative plus negative is going to stay -7. So now I know my 2 parentheses, x minus 5 and x minus 2. Oops. Okay, so there's my 2 parentheses. So I factored this one, and I factored that one. I don't need them anymore. and I can see if there's anything identical on top and bottom. And luckily there is, the x minus 5s. So what we have left on top is x plus 1. What you have left on the bottom is x minus 2. And remember, you cannot cancel out those x's because they have pluses and minuses in them, not multiplications. You can only reduce when they're being multiplied. So you cannot cross out those x's. Number 5, you have x squared plus 2. So we're going to, let's do our little x again. So we got the negative 2 on the top, and we got the negative 1 on the bottom. So we got to multiply to get negative 2, but add up to negative 1. I'm thinking negative 2 times positive 1. So that gives me negative 2 when I multiply, gives me negative 1 when I add. So that works. X minus 2 and x plus 1. And so that's the top part factored. Now the bottom part is a difference of cubes. A difference of cubes. So you might remember that one, you might not. This is x times x times x, and this is 2 times 2 times 2. Now there is a formula for difference of cubes. You're going to take your first one and minus the second one, and then you've got your first one again, and then you combine the 2 and the x, and then you have 2 squared, which is 4. Sorry, 4, we can put 4 there. So, and then we would want to recheck that with FOIL and make sure we did it right. So the first terms would give me the x squared. I'd get the, oh wait, sorry, this is x squared. That'd give me the x cubed. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 2x would give me the 2x squared. And then I'd have a negative 2x squared, so that would cancel out. Positive 2x squared, negative 2x squared would cancel out. The last one would be a 4x and a negative 4x. That would also cancel out. And then the last one is your negative 8. So yeah, the two middle terms cancel out and leaving you with just x cubed minus 8. So we factored that into these two parentheses. And luckily, the x minus 2 is the same on top and bottom. So our answer to number 5, kind of a messy answer, but our answer to number 5 is x plus 1 on top, and we have x squared plus 2x plus 4 on the bottom. And that is factored. Okay, so that was 5. Now to go to 7. 7 just says find the product. Okay, I'm going to move this up. So hopefully you got that. If you need to pause the video anywhere, you can always pause it and go back and see it. I'm going to go to 7. 7's a straight fraction one. There's no factoring. You can just cross cancel. So we can say 54, or 9 goes into 54 6 times. So those can be reduced. You've got 2 y's here. I can take off 2 y's from the bottom, just leaving me with y squared. But then I have a y squared and a y squared, so those go away. I have 4 x's on the top. I could take 4 x's away on the bottom, leaving with just x. But I have 3 x's, or 1 on the bottom, and I can take 1 off the top, leaving x squared. So after all is said and done, you're left with a 6x squared over y cubed. So that's, this y cubed comes right there. Let's see, number 9. Again, you're looking for things that will be the same on top and bottom. So the top has an x plus 7 and the bottom has an x plus 7. The top has an x squared being multiplied. The bottom has an x squared being multiplied. And that's all you can do. And the only thing left is just the top, x minus 5 minus 5 times x minus 1. So that would be your answer. There's nothing on, oh wait, there's a 4 on the bottom. Sorry, my bad. There's a 4 down there. So that would be your answer to 9. 11 is going to take you a little more work because you're going to have to do some factoring. Like this one, you can take an x out of both of them. Take an x out of that one and an x out of that one. You'll have an x, because that one had, first one had 2 of them. You took out 1, and a plus 3. So that's factored. And the only other one that you could factor would be this one over here where there's a 6 on the top and a negative 5 on the bottom. So I'm thinking negative 3 and negative 2 would be my two factors, because when you multiply them, you get positive 6. Adding them gets you negative 5. So x minus 3, x minus 2, which x minus 2's can cancel. And this x on the bottom can cancel out with this x on the top. So you're left with x plus 3 and x minus 3 on the top. And on the bottom, you're just left with the 4. So that's 11. Let's see. Compare the function f of x. Well, they are the same because you can cross cancel those. They're identical. So all that you have left is the x minus 5. So those are equal. Equal. Okay, you don't have to do the last one here. We are going to do 14 and 6, 15 and 17. You're going to do 14 and 16. Now, division is almost the same thing, except when we divide fractions, we make the reciprocal. We multiply by the reciprocal. So if I'm doing 15, I'm still going to factor this top one. I'm going to put the 6 on the top and the negative 1 on the bottom, which will be a negative 3 times a 2, because negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. That was supposed to be negative 6 on top, sorry. And so my two parentheses would be x with a negative 3 and x with a positive 2. That factors this guy. These, you can divide them both by 3. That goes in evenly. And you can divide them both by x cubed. They both have at least an x cubed in it, which is going to be our GCF. So 3x cubed. What's left over is just going to be an x plus 2. That's it. That's factored. Because we divided 6 divided by 3 and got the 2, and the x cubes canceled out. You had, on the first one, you had x to the 4th, and then you had x and x to the 3rd on the bottom, so you could take away 3 of those 4, and all you have left is this one right here. So that would be your bottom. And look at the bottom has an x plus 2, and so does the top, so we can cancel those. Now we're going to multiply, and we're going to flip these. So it's going to be 6x over x minus 3. And then we get rid of that. We don't want it. We don't want to see it because it will confuse us. All right, let's see what we got. On the top, we've got x minus 3 here at the beginning, and we've got the 6x. So let's write that for now. 6x and then x minus 3. That's on the top. On the bottom, we've got 3x cubed from the GCF, which is way out here in the front. And so that's going to come over. And we have an x minus 3 on the bottom. Ooh, nice. Because those will cancel. And 6 can divide into 3 2 times. And you've got an x on the top. You can take one of them off the bottom, and now you have x squared. So your whole thing is going to reduce to 2 on the top and x squared on the bottom. That's all the way down to there. So that's kind of nice that it reduced that far. Yes, 2 over x squared. That reduces all the way down to that. Okay, 17. Okay, so if I factor the negative 14 and a 5 because negative 14 is here and your 5 is there. Multiplies to equal negative 14 adds up to 5. So let's see. Multiplies to get negative 14 adds up to 5. I'm thinking of 7 times negative 2. That will multiply to give me negative 14, and that will add up to a 5. So I'm going to kind of bring this over. It's going to be x plus 7, x minus 2. Okay, so that's the top of, let's redo this arrow right here. Okay, that represents the top of this of that fraction, the first fraction. The bottom is just x plus 3. Then you're going to change this to times. And since there's nothing there, we're going to put a 1 under it. And we're going to factor it too. So let's see. What would multiply to give me 4 and add up to negative 4? I'm thinking negative 2 times negative 2. So we got to flip it around though. So it's going to be on the bottom. So we're going to put times. We're going to put 1 on the top, x minus 2, and x minus 2. Because we had to flip it around. And what's cool is the x minus 2's then will cancel, 1 on top, 1 on the bottom. So you have left on the top is x plus 7. You have left on the bottom is x plus 3 and x minus 2. Those are left on the bottom. And you can't do anything with that. You can't reduce any of those x's because they're all in the pluses. So that is number 17, completely reduced. Okay, so your job is to finish up the evens on this worksheet. So get those evens all finished and show the work on your own paper. Attach a copy to Google Classroom, and then you're doing the puzzle as well. So do these on the puzzle. Make sure you get your answer down here because that's your way to check them. All right, good luck.